think amongst our teachers, the one that has delved the most into this is Dr. Adistia, and he explains that there are several levels of this that can be done. Particularly, he said it is especially observed in the life sciences, with regards to the life sciences and dealing with the living creation of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. There must always be consciousness that these beings are given the spark of life by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. One possible direction that science can take is towards biomimicry, and biomimicry meaning to say to invent or to develop your tools and your instruments in a manner that respects the ecosystem as a whole, to understand the reliance of one organism on another organism, and for example, the criticisms are especially in the realms of industrial farming. When we study the historical development of farming, or al-filaha within the Islamic societies, this was something that they understood really well. Especially, I remember our friend Ahmad Keela of the UK. He mentioned about the farming practices of older Yemen, that it followed the seasons of the year, and not only did it follow the seasons of the year, they were conscious of when rain came, and they were very careful not to, involve themselves in wastage. That they would build dams in order to sustain the waters, such that it would be sufficient for their needs. And they would certainly, as a result of tajribah, know what how to and this is what they call permaculture, let us say, how individual beings depend on other beings, and so on and so forth. The way science has developed in our times is to such an extent that first and foremost, there is a disrespect of the rhythms of nature. There's a disrespect even with regards to the rights of other organisms and the rights of future peoples. For example, with regards to the usage of pesticides and insecticides that threaten whole-scale loss of organisms, ever so crucial for man's survival. And this is amongst the causes of the environmental crisis that we suffer. And also at the same time, it needs to be guided by maqasid, it needs to be guided by priorities and the differences in value. Let us say animal testing certainly must be let us say indulged in only if it pertains to the higher values of the requirements, and this has something to do with the economics of Islam. Like, for example, within the Ghazalian discussion, certainly we will not allow ourselves to test on animals to harm their lives if the end result is merely to add to cosmetic products. But perhaps it may be justified if it involves the lives of a generation, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the bearings that should come into mind. And when you go into other sciences that involves, let us say, the realm of the fuqaha, yes, involving marriage, artificial insemination, some of these things were discussed by the earlier fuqaha, but they had the worldview intact. Yes, something that has been lost as a result of secularization is the pushing of is the relegation of religion to the private sphere, and religion no longer now becomes the source of guidance with regards to life important choices. There's the question of the medical aspects, like organ donation, euthanasia, and all of these things. Yes, if we have scientists who are aware of the maqasid of the Sharia, they are aware of the proper meanings of things, they would put things into perspective. And some of the and it can involve also the science of health economics and several other disciplines pertaining to economics, where the division of resources, the distribution of resources are concerned. Let us say in industrial economics, yes, they should put the questions in perspective. Like with regards to health economics, sometimes it can, when they discuss, whether to allocate their spending on maintaining the life of the older generation, or to increase pleasure in the youth. All of these things, yes, must be given an alternative Islamic foundation, depending or based on the worldview of Islam. Yes, and there's many more examples we can think of, certainly. Yes.
Jazakallah khair, Ustaz. Inshallah ta'ala, for those of you who are with us still, thank you for your patience and thank you for staying on with us. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll strive to put up this video as soon as possible so that you can follow the classes. I'll try to put it up within the next week, inshallah ta'ala, before the next lesson comes up. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can send us, you can ping us on our FB page, inshallah ta'ala, send us a message and we'll forward the question to Syed Muhiyuddin, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallah khair. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam Muhammadin wa alihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.